Alright, welcome back to Accidental Ascension, and we're here in turn 22, not turn 21. I promise the turn skips are pretty much over at this point. I think I've gotten pretty good, can't guarantee it, but we're pretty close. Unfortunately, this is the first time that a turn skip probably matters somewhat, because last turn, what happened was I moved in, as I said I was, an army of humans, my prophet, and one big mage to take 151, because of course Midgard was fully taken up, and I cleared it with Abyssia that I was moving in here. I actually thought Abyssia was more of a risk. Didn't get things squared away with Midgard the way I'd intended before turn cycle. It caught me off guard when the turn clicked because I just wasn't keeping good enough track of time. And we bumped. And in that bump, I lost all of my humans. So a lot of my human crappy free siege staff, but like units that are useful for things. They lost some vans as they lawnmowered through me. So it wouldn't have been that bad except for the fact that I lost my prophet and I lost an Ungercock. And by losing those two things, the ratio of losses really decisively swings in their favour. I know this is a bump, so you can't really think about it that way, but it was a moment of embarrassment for the Atlantean military. Very sad. Our prophet, son of Iroke, is dead, so the first heir and successor to the person who won the last Ascension war by claiming the throne is dead. So we'll see who will pick up the mantle in the future. So that's what happened in turn 21. We stabilised from there and we're currently at peace. But let's talk about the diplomacy that arose from that situation in a moment. We'll go through random events and movements, and then we'll talk about diplomatic developments, because this has been a big diplomatic turn, and I'm very excited to see whether or not it allows us to change our fortunes in this game, because we're doing okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 provinces. Turn 22, meh. About to be 21 provinces, maybe 22. We'll talk about that in a moment. But still, we're doing okay. I'd like us to be doing better. So there's been a throw claimed. I'll check who that was in a moment. We found a magic site, which is a 1 water, 1 pearl. So we're doing okay. 10, 19, 21. 21's okay. 21's okay. I want to do better. Then there were 2 battles that we saw. One was all moved in and cleared out these wolf tribe. This is a favour to us because their troops were there and much capable of doing this. They'll now move to another front. So just as a favour between friends, they cleared the wolf tribe, which will allow us to walk in with a smaller force and take it. Obviously, we had traded for this wasteland earlier, in that they got this profitable farmland and I got the water and this. It was a decent enough deal, I think, and they've been kind enough to clear this for us, which is great. And then we moved in and we killed werewolves, and as I said before, so werewolves can be quite dangerous to most nations, because if you look at them, they've got invulnerability 15. So this is actually 15 protection versus mundane, so they've got 15 prot, which is okay. They've got 3 attacks, they regen 10%, and they have 20 HP. So, they're okay units, but they only get prot 6 against Ice Guard. And we've got the halberd types here, so 24 damage, so just watch this. Unfortunately, the Lizard Warrior here is probably going to die. So you see some regen numbers going up, but even the sword guys are hitting for heaps and heaps of damage. The sword guys will take considerably less damage than the halberd dudes, but still, we're rocking 24 prot at the moment, so they're 16 damage bite. They weren't really going to do much damage. So we lost one Asatut, the only Asatut in the group, because he was the only person with low levels of prot. The Ice Guards with the swords then killed them all. Great. So we took that province. Forest of Gila, or retook that province, 31. We're now going to roll north into 159. We're doing that because Utgard is under siege by barbarians here. Patala has, we have a demarcation line. So we've got a pretty good arrangement going with Patala, hoping to be friends with them well through the long term. I think they share the same intentions, at least, and we've been sharing intel. So hopefully that develops. Anyway, that allows us to move on to this throne here. Now we have the Ice Guard situation going on against a mixture of Phantasmals and Pale Ones. Now the Pale Ones are 1, unarmoured, 2, pretty shitty at attack and defense, and 3, they're in cold 3 while being cold-blooded, so they're going to fatigue out if they don't die instantly. I don't think Utgard will try and take it with just this, so we're going to move in and see if we can snatch that. Now, I'm probably going to have to sell that to Utgard, but I'd rather hold it and trade it away than miss my opportunity and like just not take it and get nothing for it. So we might take it, and then we'll tell Utgard, oh, let's hang around. Maybe we sell it, like whatever. Good temporary hold, and that should give us 1, 2, and then maybe 3 thrones. Why maybe 3? So what has been happening down here? You'll recall that this war is now a multi-way slugfest. Phlegra is at the borders of Gath. Abyssir is at the borders of Gath. Orm has some big armies that are cleaning up down here and will soon be at the walls of Gath. And I have now finally broken this fortification. And it's not a particularly good fortification. Gath, I think, burned down the lab, or never, if they had ever built one. They had built some mages here, so I'm pretty sure they have. Their scales have been starting to lower the population. Like, it should be pretty valuable, but not incredible. If I take this, the province I have a right to from Ulm is this one here, the Hoburg Plains. The problem is this then leaves me in this nice little distended line, which is just indefensible and really attractive. It's something that people think they can pinch off. At the same time, there are things happening in the north. Utgard and Midgard will be going to war. They will be going to war. And more than that, both of them have approached us for aid. So Midgard wants us to come in and attack Utgard. Utgard wants us to come in and attack Midgard. And the logical conclusion I reach is that we should get involved. We need to enter this war and take territory from one person or the other. So the question then becomes, one, how do we get involved if we need to get involved? And 2, who do we get involved against? So work backwards. Where are all my forces at the moment? All my forces are down here, and to an extent around my cap. Some are down here, but really the ones I have to work with are these 2 armies, plus to a limited extent the forces that I'm training in situ here. So, Ice Guards, Mournfall, Ice Guards, Asatuts, lots of Ungerkok coming out. So what can I do? The answer is I think I have to disengage from the Gathian war, because I need this army. I need all of this siege strength, 200 siege strength thereabouts, plus some big mages and some commanders in order to do anything worthwhile. So, okay, I need to get out of the Gath war. Well, do I assault this fort and then take this and then walk away? That's 1 to siege, 2, 3, 4. That's pretty slow, and that's going to in fact hold up because this war is kicking off pretty bloody soon. And I think the real prize for me would be to compress my territory anyway. So I went to Wolfdad, I went to Ulm, and I said, look, if I give up my right to this and this fort, so 2 provinces, will you give me this, which was originally slated to him? And the answer to that question was yes. Actually, it's this province, and also Ulm has a province down here which borders this water, which would be strategically preferable for me to have. So the ruling was I get this, and if I do get here first, I get to take this province down here, which will give me access to the water and sailing access to Erythia. So I might be able to take something there, or later on, if we get involved in a conflict with GC, we'll have a sailing route across this water to raid his coast up here, which is always good. You always want to have mechanisms to put pressure on other players that they can't reciprocate. And if I have just this province that can sail, and they can't sail, I can always threaten this with a small force and never really be in trouble. And that gives me range on this, and this, which is not bad for one province. Anyway, so I get this throne and this province down here, but I only get this province once I can get to it, and that's going to be ages, and so he'll get to reap lots of income in the interim. So I got to give up this fort to Ulm. So I'm going to poke it so I can tell him what's in there. I'm going to pull off it. And also the other factor here is that Gath's got a sub, and I feel pretty freaking sleazy being part of this multiplayer smash now that Gath is being quite noble in the resistance that they're putting up. So I'm happy to leave. So I'll poke the fort. The fort should still be broken when Ulm moves in. I'm not moving off this turn. Actually, I might. I'm not sure. Before I finalise, I'll decide. I'll talk to Ulm to make sure it happens at the right time. But anyway, we'll poke the fort. We'll come off. We'll take this with everything that we have. The independent commanders have taken over command there. We already pulled off this mage last turn to search. We'll come back here, clear this throne. We'll walk back up here. By that point, these mages will have arrived with additional reinforcements. We'll stick the armies back on the multiple sailing mages, because each of them can lead 80, so we need multiple mages to come in to be able to lead those troops. they'll come in, and then they'll bundle up, and then they can redeploy. And that's probably, that logistics is probably, to be honest, the reason that decides which side I'm going to come in on. If I decide to fight Utgard, I need to start moving troops up here now, and my sail transfer route becomes 1, 2, 3 through this narrow pathway here, or I can sail home, march up. It's just a long, annoying front, and I know he's got... So his military force is communion-based, so his strategy is to throw lots and lots and lots of skeletons at the problem. My primary advantage right now is I have lots of very, very good troops that will tire out if they fight skeletons. So because he's the harder target, make no mistake, murdering giants is easy. If he sent actual giants at me, I would absolutely wipe the floor with him. But I don't think he's going to send troops against me. I don't think he's going to send troops against Midgard. I think there'll be a few blockers and some communions. So we're going to go in against Midgard, I think. I think we're going to join the giant. We're going to make the giants go first, and we're going to stage a landing here. Maybe try and get some troops together up here as well, and we're going to go in for the underbelly of Midgard. So you can see me dispersing scouts along what I think is going to be my axis of advance. Always have vision over your axis of advance. Midgard does not look well developed. There are 3 forts that I can see, and I don't think there's a 4th one up north. I think Utgard is present as far as here. So Midgard is small, compact, but the real prize will be, I think if I can grab the capital, I'm happy. But if I can just pinch off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for relatively few losses, then it will be far more valuable than being stuck in this morass. And this exchange is okay anyway. It certainly favours Ulm, because it puts Ulm in a position to move on the Gathian capital by holding both of these provinces and really securing his front line here. This is a really good strategic position for Wulfdad. And what I kind of hope here is that by having Wulfdad really anchored in 49, Abyssia entrenched in 59, Phlegra entrenched in 12, that the 3 powers vying for that cap will be in a position that they sort of keep each other honest, and that's absolutely fine by me. Utgard is, I think, out of the race for the cap. Utgard has got as far as here. I don't think they've got up here. They got a little bit. So they got a little bit of Gath, but they've been blocked off, I believe, by Ulm from going for the cap. But I'm not sure. I don't have vision. I don't have enough scouts yet. I'm training more, but I don't have enough. So that's the summary of this turn. We've got a really good diplomatic relationship over here. We'll probably... I'll mull this a little more, but I'm currently proceeding as if it will be attack on Midgard. I've told Midgard I'm interested because I am. I'm still considering it. I still may swap. If something happens that flips me over, it will. I don't have a nap with them. I have a nap with Utgard, but I'm happy to put it on cooldown in the next turn or so if it turns out that I'm going to side with Midgard over Utgard. So I'll mull it, but for the moment, my movement either way is the same. Take this, move off, take this, hand that over to Ulm, and go from there. So that's turn 20. Oh, and take this province here, the wasteland that Ulm kindly left to us. So that's all of our movements. That's our diplomacy. Infrastructure-wise, we're building a fort. We're building a lab and a fort here, so we're getting more infrastructure up in the water. The reason we need that is because we desperately need more of these guys. We're recruiting a few extra troops at the moment just because we're out of troop recruitment capacity in our forts, and while we have lots of gold but not much infrastructure, that's the go, I think. We're recruiting lizard shamans and warriors over here too. Never hurts to have an army over here, which we can either move against Utgard or 1, 2, and then sail 3, 4. So you're not that far isolated from everything else. So I'm happy with that. So that's turn 22. We'll be back in turn 23. Alright, welcome back. Turn 23 in Accidental Ascension. And I did end up going for the throne. So I did a little bit of juggling after I did the recording. I did go for the throne. I did ping the fort. And we took the throne. So let's go through the random events list, then we'll talk about the battles and the diplomatic developments, because I also embarrassed myself this turn in a way that will probably take me a while to live down, but that's okay. Messenger arrived from Gath, him just saying that, hey, there wasn't as much in my fort as you thought there was. I didn't think there was a huge amount in the fort, but, anyway. Evocation is now done to level 5. We searched for a whole bunch of magic sites. We found one in Faerun Mountains, just a 1 astral. Now, this is interesting because this is not a water or death site. This is a holy site. So do search your provinces for holy, guys, because you can find gems with holy. So that's kind of cool. But 1 gem for the turn, and I'll take any turn I find something. At least I feel like I'm going forward. Battle in the halls, which was over here. So this is the throne, and I think we're going to see the Atlantean infantry do their thing again. Oh, great, it's dark. normally an advantage against most opponents because Atlanteans are Dark Vision 50, but these guys are all Dark Vision as well, aren't they? Yeah, Dark Vision 100 for the pale ones, and of course Undead / Phantasmals all have Spirit Sight, so not going to help. Turns out there are some mages here, a gemmed up S2 Earth 1 Fire 1, and a Death 3 S3 A2 with a bunch of gems, so that's a little more than I was gambling on, but let's just hope that 24 protection, 11 attack, 14 defense does its job. I don't think the crossbows even really matter here. The good thing... Oh, great. So we've got some Mind Burn and Raised Skeletons happening. So we've got to cut through the front line before that builds up. Yeah, we lost a guy to... So we're going to lose people at Magic Resistance 9, because this is Magic Dominion. Yeah, Magic Scales. So they're no more resistant than humans. So we will suffer casualties to Mind Burn. We might survive... Yeah, so someone there survived a Mind Burn because we have a hit point pool. So this guy has survived a Mind Burn being hit in the head. 15 hit points down to 6. So even if he was a human, he would have survived, but he'd be on 1 rather than 6. Anyway, so we'll speed this up. We absolutely, as you can see, pale ones, poor pale ones, like they got no chance. Attack 5, defense... Oh, this is routing, so they'd normally be attack 8. But still, crappy stats, a 15 damage spear, which even with 15 piercing, you're not going to get through that prot the majority of the time. Terrible attack density, and being a big sack of HP doesn't help against people who swing with 17 damage with high accuracy and decent attack density. So we take the province. Losses are, I think, minimal. Yep, 1 Ice Guard, and of course the Lizard dies again, 56 kills to the Ice Guard. So we've taken the throne. It's a throne of ice. Cold resistance. Blessed troops get cold resistance. We don't need cold resistance, and we don't have any sacred. So there we are. Whatever. So we'll move south. Get our troops somewhere useful again. We claimed this throne over... Well, didn't claim it. We took the throne over here. Here we lost 5 Asatuts, 2 humans, and 1 Ice Guard, killing 83 units. All hail the Atlantean Infantry Corps. So again, same thing, run at them. This time it's humans. We lose some humans facing the humans, but for the most part we lawnmower through. I summoned a few lesser water elementals just in case there was something dodgy going on here, like if they summoned something that required the just a little bit more of a distraction. But it turns out it's mostly blood mages at this point, blood and death. So other than us throwing down some banishment to get rid of the undead, it was really just a case of mopping up. Most of the kills, I think, were friendly fire. Friendly fire or from their summons. Because our crossbows didn't actually get many kills. So I'm going to assume that, although with the casualties being the Asatuts, it may have been our archers or crossbows. Anyway, we killed them, we took that. Now, here's where I stuffed up. So I poked the throne, not the throne, the castle. So I sent my guy in, just to have a look and then run away, as you do. So it turns out, yeah, there's a small contingent here, and then I run away. The problem was I forgot that unless you leave one guy on siege duty, the siege breaks. So I meant to leave this broken and to poke inside, but I forgot to leave someone to sit outside, so the siege got broken, which means it's back up to 500 wall integrity. This is really annoying because it means... Well, it's annoying for Wolfdad, but it makes me feel bad because it means Wolfdad has to come in and siege it down again. Now, of course, Orm has wolves. Orm has billions and billions and billions of wolves, so breaking the walls again won't be that much of a problem, but still, it would have been better diplomatically if I'd been able to hand that over with the walls already broken. That said, I've made my peace with Gath. I'm not really involved anymore. I kind of wish them good luck. Because they're fighting against overwhelming odds, and I'm no longer part of that. So I've made my peace with them, and I'm getting out of Dodge. So I'm moving to the coast. I'm moving in one independent commander. He's going to be the one that starts fortress construction here, because everyone else is bringing the troops to the coast. We'll get a nice little concentration of forces, 130, 210. So 210 infantry is not bad for Atlanteans. We're also grouping up some other infantry here, which we'll be able to move up. And from there, we'll be able to make a beach landing next turn. We're bidding on, or I'm going to bid on, haven't done it yet. My intention is to bid on the Fast Strikers and God's Justice. God's Justice is very expensive. It's 400 gold basic for 50 pikes. So no sane man would normally hire Giuseppe. because pikemen just aren't very good because of the way repel mechanics work in Dominions 5, which are rather counterintuitive. According to Dominions, the best way to repel someone with a pike is to have one really, really, really skilled dude with a pike, as opposed to having 300 average dudes with pikes squished into a square. Because only the individual model that you're attacking gets to make a repel attempt, whereas in Dominions 4, everyone in the square that you were attacking into got to make a repel attempt. So densely packed humans, or especially formation fighting hoplites with spears, if they had longer weapons than the enemy, could make lots and lots of repel checks. And now I imagine that you'd use things like Bakemono, size 1 units, to make lots and lots of repel checks. But no, it doesn't work that way. So pikes suck. Which is a real shame when you consider how polearms and particular spears and pikes were basically the dominant close combat weapon for a very, very significant stretch of human history. The spear is defining in terms of warfare, and you'll struggle to find a culture which doesn't employ the spear as a very common weapon, and it's very easy to find cultures that employed it as a primary weapon. So it's sad that in Dominions, things like the katana and the I'm going to use the term longsword because that's what Dominions calls them, but like one-handed broadswords and things like that get a lot more use despite being more commonly secondary weapons than the one-handed or two-handed spear. Spear and shield, very common in history. Very, very common. Dominions shits on that, and it shits on the Phalangites too. Dominions also has Phalangites that are like, use one-handed spears, which is like maybe the shield is a buckler, and that's okay because Phalangites had small little strap-on shields, but Phalangites used two-handed spears. The Sarissa was the Macedonian one. Anyway, so we're redeploying, cleaning up. We're deploying troops from the capital, which will bring those guys down here, and from there we need to talk about the war plan. So I believe Utgard is going in this turn, and that for me confirms that unless there's if there's a massive disaster, then we might change sides, but if there's a massive disaster, it might actually be worth it to continue, depending on what the casualty rate is like. We did see that Midgard has a rather substantial army over here that has cleared this fort, so they have 3 forts back online. We can see Einher's here. We have no scout on their capital, because I figure that's dangerous. And we can see an army of Einher's, Huskarls, and 16 Vans here, and 1 Vanyar, that killed these barbarians for basically no loss. Now, before you discount the infantry is just infantry, or these armies are small, remember 2 things. The first is that in the early age, all of the mainline infantry units of by the late age, these are all human. So you can see the infantry. That explains why you can see the infantry. But despite them being human, an Einherjar is still a bloody scary combatant. 16 prot, which goes up to 21 once you berserk. So these guys are equivalent once wounded in prot to humans, unless you kill them with the first strike. They have low defense skill, but they have high attack skill, and they have 2 high damage attacks that are going to get buffed even more when they go berserk. So this is a killy unit. This is a killy unit that is harder to kill than you might think. Now the counter to these guys would normally be crossbows, but frogs don't know how to use crossbows apparently. The Atlanteans are defined by being super adaptive. No matter what environment you put them in, their bodies adapt, but their weapons don't seem to generally, with the exception of adopting ice on the surface in the late age. We don't have crossbows. Maybe their fingers can't do it, I don't know. I think you could build a crossbow that could be used with webbed fingers. Anyway, so we don't have the natural counter to Einherjars. What we're going to have to do is just basically have an infantry off. We're going to have to send very high protection infantry at them and grind them down. Our infantry are cheaper, amazingly, not in resources but in gold, and gold's what counts for me. The ordinary Hirdmen and Huskarls I really don't care about. Like, these guys suck compared to my infantry. The difference is, half the cost, sure, but you're down to 13 damage, which means you won't hurt me. Your stats are crap and your protection's low. So you're vulnerable to my evocations as well. The Vanir are scary, in a sense, but not in another. Unlike the Einherjars, the Vanir will struggle to hurt my infantry. 14 damage on the light lance will hurt on the charge, but after that it's not enough to punch through prot. The hoof will not punch through prot, the javelin is irrelevant, once they reach combat. So I'm not as worried about the Vanir. Also, the Vanir have lower protection values, which means they're more vulnerable to evocations. Despite living in the frozen north, they are not cold resist, which means things like falling frost will hurt. However, we don't know how many there are, other than here, because there's probably a big stack of Vanir here, but because they're glamoured, we can't see them on the strategic map. So we're really going to rely on Utgard for intelligence on when he smacks into them. Otherwise, we're just going to have to roll our death balls and hope that when we hit them with everything. What are we going to build our force out of? We're going to build our force out of basic infantry, and we're going to take on a couple of mages. Why are we taking on mages? Well, we finished Evo 5. I think I might change this evocation pattern, but we'll see. Anyway, we've got Evo 5. The reason I went to Evo 5 is this spell, Falling Frost. Does 17 damage in AoE 5, boosted extra for extra water. 30 range is not good, but it's relatively low fatigue, 20 fatigue. You'll notice that our big mages come with like water 4 in some cases. The one I'm moving here is another water 4. So I'm picking out the water randoms while I forge a water booster and a skull staff at home. And these guys, so we'll have maybe 3 big mages that can cast. We'll need to send another one out here to collect troops and travel over there. Anyway, so we'll have maybe 3 big casters throwing Falling Frost. And Falling Frost can, particularly against Vans, do quite a bit of damage. 2 or 3 falling on the head of the Van will kill it on average. And we can hit 10 Vans with each cast if we get a nice good blob. And we can cast that all battle, and we can rain it down. And the other good thing about Falling Frost for Atlantis is if you look at it, this is both a weakness and an advantage of the spell. It's not armor piercing, but it's high damage. So our protection provides full insulation against this. And because Midgard has Cold Dominion, we'll be getting the benefit of our full armor value against it. So that's good. The second thing is all of our troops, except for the poor humans, but I'm not worried about the humans. The humans are there to siege castles, have Cold Resistant 8. Which reduces that damage flat. So against Atlanteans, 9 non-armor piercing damage or so is coming in. That's not going to do shit to protection 24. It's just not. So you can happily drop this stuff as inaccurately as you want all over your ice guards. Like, rain that shit down on the battlefield, and your guys just will regard it as a nice pleasant snow in the evening. It's fine. It's great. Do it. So I'm going to send a couple of evocation casters. Evocation is not normally the early game path, but for Atlantis, I like Falling Frost. I like being able to drop evocations that have wide AoE, decent damage output, and which don't hurt my own troops. So that's what we're going to do. It'll be infantry plus evocations, and hopefully that will carry us through. I'll bid for some mercenaries here, so they can cover my advance, and that way I know that I'll get 1 turn's warning that he's going to come for my stack when he murders my mercenaries. So that's the plan. We'll bid for those mercs now. I'll spend the rest of my gold, get my infrastructure sorted, because as you've said, we're just continuing with that for the moment. Make sure my troop production is all online, and I'll see you in turn 24 when I think we'll be inputting attack orders. Alright, Accidental Ascension turn 24, and the beach landing's a go. So let's talk about what happened in the turn as usual, cover the random events first, and then let's talk about this juicy invasion plan that we have going here, because the sailing is great. So we've got some death gems from Orm, which we traded them for. We've got a Thistle Mace from Patala, which we traded. We need the Thistle Mace to site search. We have a paltry 2 nature gems at the moment. We've got Lizard Shamans. So what I'm going to do is, using all of my nature gems, I purchased the Thistle Mace, using half of them, and I'm forging another Thistle Mace with the other half of them. That brings me down to 0. That'll give me 2 Thistle Maces, and then I'm going to send 2 N2 Lizard Shamans out to desperately site search, because I need more nature income. I need it. I have so many nature mages. I'm producing lots and lots of nature mages. They're communion nature mages. They can cast interesting things, but they have no gems. Anyway, so Throne of Flames. Let's check thrones quickly. Thrones of the world. Okay, so Throne of Flames. Jomon has claimed the Throne of Flames, so that'll, some fire gems for them. Outer Throne by Jabolba, Throne of War by Bogarus, Beasts and Winter by Phlegra, because Phlegra is expanding well. Throne of Might by the Giants, and we are the Throne of Stars. Good for us. What else happened? We found 2 magic sites. So in Solian, Wow, okay. Mercury Pond, 2 water, 1 air. Love it. So that brings us up to 12 water gems a month, and we have 120 in storage. So I don't think we're going to want for water gems. I'll see if anyone will buy the bloody things, because they're generally considered the least valuable gem. It's between water and fire for least valuable gem type. And we will have lots and lots and lots of water. But we do have, to be fair, ways to spend water. What do we find? We found Sun Ridge, 2 fire, very happy. That's our first fire income, and it's a Fire 1 site because we only have Fire 1 to search with. This is expensive and opportunity cost. We're using a 15 research mage to manual site search, pretty much with the goal of finding fire, because I will sweep a higher water mage through here later. Water def and 1 cross path in the form of an Ungercock. I'm trying to search everything with Ungercock. But we found 2 fire, and that's worth it. So this will build up a little bit, and if we do eventually go for construction 6, we're going to make some lanterns. Gath has proclaimed... he's proclaimed a new prophet. Akmon the Seren. Seren are... Sorry, I've not played Gath. I have barely looked at Gath. Is a Seren... Yes, okay. So Seren is the sacred heavy dude they have who might have a random. If I was him... If I had an Earth random Seren there, and I have a decent bless, and we know he's got a decent bless. He's got like fire shield and stuff on it. It's a good bless. Prophetizing this might be a way to make a good thug, and a good fire resistant thug might be exactly what you need to hold off Abyssia. So we'll see how that one goes, but I think that's what they're doing there, or at least that's me reading into it. There was a battle in Furia where we bounced this throne here just to see what was on it, and the answer was 2 sorceresses, some heavy infantry, horse tribe, and phantasmals. We don't really care about the phantasmals or the horse tribe. What I care about is the mages, and the answer is Death 3, Astral 2, Air 2 with a bunch of gems, and the other one is... Okay, so basically a clone of the other throne. So with a decent force, we know we can take that. We just need to get the decent force, and it's probably going to be this one coming down, picking up more troops and going down and clearing it, if we don't need those troops to go to Midgard. But I think if I can clear this, that'd be good, especially since Utgard has said, yeah, fortify this, but eventually it has to be mine. So, you know what, that's okay. Just means we won't claim it. So this one will go to Utgard eventually. We're going to try and claim, we'll get this one, so then we'll have 1, 2, 3. And that's okay. They're all very low point thrones, so no one should be worried. We're going to be like 14 to claim. We'll be on like 3 points. 3, maybe 4. So no one will give a shit. But it's a few gems, and thrones are nice little prestige items. They're free temples, so it's 400 gold. So I'll take it. So that happened there. We poke that. We'll scout that eventually and see what's going on. We've started construction of a palisade in Agraria 73, which is important, and we're otherwise site searching. Now, what are we doing in terms of this movement? So Utgard's line of advance is up here and has already started, I believe. We successfully purchased our mercenaries here in 165, which is great. They're a nice little screening force. Now, hypothetically, if he sees this coming, if Midgard sees this coming, he could move south and kill the mercenaries. But I don't think he will. He's already at war with the giants. I'm not a guaranteed entrant, and coming down here and being pulled when he doesn't know what's a raid along here is a bit risky. I think he'll move north to counter the giants. So we're landing. We're moving a bunch of troops on an Ungercock to the beach landing to join that, and we're moving a smaller force up, I think mostly consisting of, just a few more troops that we couldn't carry with the Ungercock. 20-something troops. Every reinforcement counts at this point. Well, this guy, who is going to just move away and continue site searching because he's having such luck with it, he's going to ignore the war. What we're landing... landing 91, 130, 140, 220 units, which is not bad. 220 infantry. Take a while to crack a fort, but it's there. It's got 3 guys with Falling Frost forward position scripts who can drop all kinds of shenanigans. I'm going to reorganize these infantry lines once they're in one place. So they're not all in the same place at the moment, which means they can't actually reorganize. So the humans are not in the front line because I don't want them to be the ones who are being hit by my own invocations. I want the Ice Guards, who are going to be really resistant, to be at the front, and then the Sacreds, and then the humans. Falling Frost scripts on everyone. Everyone's carrying gems in case we get to cool evocation in time. Everyone's on conservative gem use, so they won't use them until then. A few death gems, few water gems, because we're not really going to have much of a chance to resupply once we get to the front. Also bringing this set of armor, because we had it. May as well. Protects your heavy mages, and your items do you no good sitting in a lab, right? So if I'm not going to need this for some other purpose, then I may as well have someone wearing it who's going into the line of fire. Why might we need that? Well, we're going for Evocation 6, and Evocation 6 gets us Wailing Winds, which we'll want the death gems for, but mostly, and the water gems just allow us to cast lots and lots and lots of, so we go into a battle with a big army, we can turn off conservative gem usage and like spam that spell at higher values for longer and just do more damage. So, and also we can summon water elementals, who are also good like blockers, crushers, and generally pretty good at fighting most things. There'll be ice elementals in the cold, which is a bit of a bummer. They're just tramplers, but high protection tramplers. So we can conjure things if we need to for a little bit of extra oomph. So that landing should probably be okay. The reason we know it'll probably be okay is because we don't think there's an army here, and if it is, it's purely Vans. The second thing is there was a random attack and a bunch of dire wolves and wolves, like a big stack. This stack represents like thousands of wolves led by dire wolves. If you look at the abstractions of the units, so each of these wolf units is probably about 100 wolves, and each of these dire wolves units, they're a size 3 unit, so you're probably looking at around 40 things per. Thereabouts, 30 to 40, depending on which system you use. I think 30 to 40 is about right because they're about the same size as cavalry, so I use the same conventions. So several thousand wolves, driven mad by the magics of the throne, attack the local militia, eat them. Close to 2,000 human beings killed by the thousands and thousands of ravenous wolves. Dire wolves are, they're pretty good. They're okay. They mostly because they have this big stack of hit points, and they do decent amounts of damage. But like they'll fall over to anything serious. But they've got enough damage that they'll kill what they're facing. And when they're facing just light infantry, and they can rush the crossbows, yeah, they're good. They take multiple hits to kill is the key. Whereas they can kill their enemies pretty quickly if they swarm them, which they did. So we know there's no army here, unless it's in stealth. It's not enough for it to just be glamoured. It would have had to be in sneak mode. And if it is in sneak mode and he doesn't know I'm coming for him, I'm thinking it'll reclaim it rather than come here. What I hope doesn't happen is I hope Abyssia doesn't have an army here and comes up and claims this, because this is actually our axis. Coming up down south up here is the axis of advance that we want. So we want the mercenaries to come up and sort of shield us. We want to come up here, and then we have an option of either going here to attempt to ambush him if it looks like he'll come south, come up here if it looks like we're going to have a battle, or we can clear this province if we want to grab another province on the way and move the mercenaries laterally to keep this shield ahead of us. So the mercenaries die and give us warning of what his army composition is. I want to see what gems they're holding, I want to see what they're doing in battle before they get to my primary infantry line. So that's our tactics there. 1 second. Sorry about that, but not much more to say, I think. Let's do a diplomatic roundup, because we haven't done it in a while, and it should be relatively quick. The Bogorushian-Arithian War, with a little bit of vulturing from Ulm. Ulm is now big, by the way. Ulm is a 1, 2, 3... I'm going to make some assumptions here. 1, 2, 3, 4, eventually 5, 6, 7, at least 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So Ulm is at least my size, and quite possibly larger. That is amazing for a nation with late game boom potential like Ulm. The fact that all these wolves are coming out tells me that blood hunting can start. So there is a price to pay for leaving Ulm be, but you need to make sacrifices to have friends. And in this case, Wolfdad has every reason to be my friend, because Ulm doesn't want an early hard war. Ulm wants to get what they can out of the Gathian conflict and vulture what they can over here. They've already set up a fort, so good on them. But eventually something, well, I don't know what's going to happen. Whether that'll be tensions between Ulm and Abyssia or Ulm and Bogorus, eventually they'll fight someone else. I don't think they'll come for me. If they do, that's a problem. But I do think I can beat Ulm. Even if they've got their vampires out, vampires are pretty crappy counters to Atlantis, even in like raiding form. Like, they're easy enough to swat away, that even though they're going to come back and respawn later on, it's not a problem. So I don't mistrust Orm at the moment. We're on good terms there, but it's good to note that they're going really strong. Bogarus, another late game blood power with great research, powered by General Confusion, who has taken the no rush crappy troop nation with Sloth 3 and rush someone. So Arithia is on their last legs. They're like stuck around here. We're seeing a Robe of the Seed of the Orm, by the way. That's in trade for the stuff we got from them, the Death Gems. They're in this little perimeter here. I believe that Patala has opportunistically nommed their water holdings. So we'll see how long Arithia can hold out. We'll see eventually when General Confusion posts his videos. And if I'm still on the same video schedule as him, then around now, whenever you see this, he'll be posting that. Abyssia, Phlegra, still very much involved in the Gathian war. There may be a conflict between Jabolba and Phlegra. I'll make contact with both, try and get intel on both of them. To be honest, I have no hostile intentions towards either. I just want intel on what that part of the world is going, plus there might be some decent trade opportunities over there. Elsewhere, I don't know much, but I'm okay with that as a general rule. I know that Raga and Man are in a conflict, that Raga was losing, I believe, but things may be reversing. I'm trying to get more intelligence on that. But really, in my immediate sphere, it looks like this war up here is defining, this war here is defining, and this war here is defining. So we're surrounded, everyone's at war. We kind of know where all the wars are going. All the wars are kind of one-sided. This war is one-sided, this war is one-sided. I damn well hope this war is one-sided. We're going to need to move quickly, because if we don't move quickly, there's a chance that one of the other wars will end, there'll be peace, and people will be looking at who's vulnerable. And if you want to not look vulnerable, you need to not be at war, preferably, because all your troops are free. So we're going to take care of this front as quickly as we can, hopefully. Keep an eye on all of our diplomacy. And make friends and influence people. We've got good mates in Patala, we've got good mates in Orm. We're about to be allies of convenience with Utgard, so we'll see how things go heading forward. And hopefully Midgard is not too annoyed by the D-Day landing that's going to happen here. This is going to be a series of powerful water mages who are literally propelling glaciers, and on the backs of those sort of floating, it's not a glacier if it's floating, but basically massive flat icebergs, on the back of each one is going to be literally thousands and thousands of men. So they will be camped with all their supplies, all of their equipment, in their units, camped on these massive ice constructs that are sailing across the water, which is pretty freaking cool. The Dominion's universe has some amazing lore, and that lore is coming to Midgard in the form of 20-something thousand angry frogs and their human auxiliaries. So that's it. That's turn 24. I'll see you in turn 25 when the attack hits.